cornbread.
Cornbread. Okay, listen, guys. Today's episode. Sorry. We gotta talk about it.
Yeah.
We gotta talk about it.
Yeah. What happened in Appropriation April? Like, what was that?
Racism, the microaggressions, the problematic behavior.
I'm tired.
I'm asleep. Cause what the fuck? Like,
but let's wake up. Cause Jesus Christ.
Wake up.
Wake up. We're gonna talk about a lot of things. To say that I am perturbed is a
understatement.
It's an understatement, but also it's not as sad as it is. It's not surprising. I mean, y'all, we Black in America. It's a regular the fact that there's going to be people who constantly culture the heck out of our shit, and with no accountability for it. It happens. Is it good that it happens? No. Is it normal? Unfortunately, yes. I don't like that. It shouldn't be. But to say that I'm surprised it would be a lie too. I am not, because it is somewhat normalized within this world.
Yeah.
And especially within the K-pop world. And so we gotta lock in, y'all. We gotta talk about it.
And I think we don't want to hold anyone's transgressions as this is who they are and they're racist and they hate Black people. But you know, like, if you haven't apologized in a way that feels genuine and aware of your transgressions, then, you know, we'll call a spade.
Yeah. It should be very easy and direct. It is brought to your attention of wrongdoing. It should be very simple. And it should be heard when it is. The biggest thing about being a human being is holding yourself to account. And there are so many different avenues that we take through our journey as we grow. And that is true. There is growth. You can grow above things where we make mistakes. We do not do the correct research. We do not know. We know not what we do. But then there comes a point when you do know what you do and what you did, and you have to now take the responsibility upon yourself as an adult when you are no longer a child. So there are things that we do as children too. But when you're an adult, to take accountability, say, hey, I recognize that. I know what this is now. Here's why it's bad. I'm not going to do it. Sorry to those people directly, clearly, to, you know, the correct community, you know, say it by name. But you do all of that because it shows that actual growth, and it shows that you're going to actually put words to action of not trying to do the same thing again.
Yeah, say it by name is very valid, because I'm tired of seeing a lot of apologies that are to anyone who was offended.
Any group that might have been offended by the... And I'm like, what
Be so fucking for real.
Y'all.
And I also want to preface this by saying, when we do this, we are not saying that Black people have not done things that are racist against Asian people. Mm-hmm. We are not saying that Black people have not done things that are racist against Asian American people. All we're saying is we're going to cover that in a different episode.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, you know, I know there was a time when Nicki Minaj was trending and doing the Chung Lee, and, like, she had the chopsticks in her hair all the time. I know every now and then you'll see a bitch with the thank you, come again, crop top and all that shit. And I get it, y'all. We're going to get there, too. But right now, this is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So, in the comments, stay on fucking topic.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I feel like, and I think it's valid, like, what you're going to see here is, like, aggravation. It's not meant to be like, oh, I'm just... Don't angry Black woman me. We're not doing that today. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about how it actually does harmful things to perpetuating a normalization of bad stuff. This is not what you should be doing. This should not be normalized. This is not what, like, it's fine. They don't know any better. And I'm like, and also stop infantilizing people and acting just because they are young and from a different country that they don't understand things about the world. They are literally marketing to global people. That means that you should probably understand certain things about those global people, because it's what makes sense of what you guys are doing. If you're wondering, like, what sparked the need for this episode right now, right?
Because it was later in our plans.
Yeah, we had plans. It was going to be. It was on the set list. But then we decided, we need it to be like song number 3. And here is why. April has been a time, to say the least. There have been multiple instances in the last, like, I mean, the first week of April alone, it was like boom, 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 bop, bam. It was crazy.
I didn't understand the type of shit they was on, so that's very accurate.
100%.
Because what? Like,
and it started really with the YG leak. So, to get you up to speed, there was this person who claimed, I'm going to put claims in here, don't come for me, who claimed to be a former YG employee, who was disgruntled and let go. And so they decided to go on a server and release a bunch of audio, video, information about groups, mainly in YG itself. They said they had some from other, like, companies that never came to fruition.
Yeah, we didn't get those.
What?
Give us those.
But we got a few little trainee videos and, like, audition videos, whatever it may be, from groups, people and idols who were going to be in groups for YG. And most of them pertain to Blackpink. I think there was some for CL and a couple other people. And in those trainee videos, they do, like, these performance evaluations where they sing songs to a camera. And the problem was that the songs they sang had a word in it that, like, you shouldn't say because you're Korean, and, like, why? But then the crazy part is that they said it, and I was like, what? Like, what? And for context, right? The things that are being said. They were trainees in a company. It was back in, 2015, I think is when these videos started. At this point, I will say a lot of them were like 18 or older, but I digress. And the company obviously gave them the songs, sure. Here's the thing, though. My issue with it is that the 3 members who did it
of Blackpink
lived in Thailand, in Australia as an English speaker, and New Zealand as an English speaker. So I don't get the argument that it wouldn't have been inappropriate to do no matter what, even at the time, or the argument that during that time frame it was normal to do that. No, it wasn't. It was an issue.
Because obviously we're American, so we're looking at it through an Americanized lens. But the reality is any other country who has experienced colonialism, who has experienced a heavily Western influence, because let's be honest, the majority of the Australian population are people who are not indigenous to that area. And, you know, I used to date a dude from Canada, and he was white. That's a key part of the story. And he was like, we were talking about, like, the native population of Canada. And he said, oh, yeah, we call them prairie niggers. So, didn't tell you that story. No. Yeah, so depending on what country you're in, there is obviously still racism, but it's going to appear differently. And for different people, they're going to say, oh, yeah, that's just something we say. Because we even had an artist who said at one point that, oh, yeah, we used to say the N-word in school in America all the time, and it wasn't a big issue to you, because you weren't being called it. It is a derogatory term. It is a hurtful term. It is a term that has been used by people who owned other people. So there's no reason for you to use it, especially when it's not a part of your culture, especially when it wouldn't even be a part of your culture because you're not from the hood. You don't have any niggas who pull triggers. Yeah. You don't. So
it's weird. It was like, and there's like this argument constantly all the time, and it's not just solely within like the fandoms that were like making excuses during this specific situation, but in general, where they always go, well, then don't put it in the songs. And I go, okay, let me explain something very, very clearly. When we say the word nigga, we are reclaiming something that has been used to break our people. Mm-hmm. We are taking it back and utilizing it in a way where we are shifting the meaning to be more familial in nature. We like make it more of a lighthearted moment between us, right? Yeah. And it has been utilized for a long time before it was put in your rap songs that you're so mad that it's in or whatever. Yeah. Like, it has been used a lot. Not only that, shut up. White people were using it in their songs during that same exact time, and it was annoying, and they were using it the opposite way. So don't talk to me. All I'm saying is that if you, as a marginalized person, want to reclaim something for yourself, because God forbid we got reparations or nothing, so why can't we just take some shit that honestly is ours anyway, reclaim it and change the meaning of it for ourselves, and want to use it in our art, in our vernacular and whatever, we're allowed to do that. Yeah. It's all right. Just like how any other culture, I would welcome you to do the same thing for anything that is for you. But there's a reason as to why most of y'all will not say that shit to me. I promise you. Like,
yeah, but y'all be bold as fuck on the internet.
Or at a concert. Because I have been to a concert.
Yeah, because why are you screaming the N-word when... Yeah. We all like the song, babe. Yeah. But we're all not on stage rapping it.
Yeah, there's a reason that like Kendrick would take the mic away from a white person who went up on stage to rap the verse and did say the N-word, and people getting mad because he's mad about it. I'm like, no, he has a right to be mad about it because you should know better.
Because why would you come up on stage to offend an artist that you supposedly like?
Yeah.
Anyway.
And sure, you know the lyrics. I don't have a problem with you knowing the lyrics. That's cute. But change it. You can.
Or you can just not say it.
Or not say it. It's easy. They do it all the time. Censor.
All the time.
But that's my point. The issue with my I have a lot of issues with the Blackpink videos and even the CL one, even though, yes, I'm not gonna lie. Is it memeable? Yes. Was it hilarious? A little bit. Was it super inappropriate? Frick yeah. My main issue was, in a lot of those videos, there were many that were released as well for those training videos for them.
Yeah.
In those videos, there were multiple instances where they censored the curse words, though.
Yeah, but not the N-word.
Not the N-word. And I was like, okay, that's given interesting to me. And then the real kicker for me was the fact that it has been radio silence since.
Yeah, no apologies, no nothing. And y'all are loud as hell. Oh my god, look at her acapella, she's amazing. Babe, she's giving us nothing.
Yeah. Like, I'm annoyed with the fact that, like, people think, as fans, we also, as people who stand these people, having them be held to account is not a frickin' problem. You should want your artists to grow and be better for themselves, not just for you. Like, you want them to be a good person.
Yeah.
At the bare minimum. Or at least try to be. At least try to do the right thing. They are not always going to keep you happy. They will disappoint. Humans are human. And I understand that. I am not sitting here trying to just come at somebody for something that was done 10 years ago or whatever. The reality is, my main issue, more than the thing that you did 10 years ago, even though that's not an argument, because 10 years ago it was still an inappropriate thing to do, even in Korea, because you guys knew. Kunta Kinte?
I was waiting.
Kunta Kinte, what?
Grits, dummy. Yeah. Kunta Kinte.
But like,
yeah, because and I want to know, who was watching Roots? Like, yeah. Because that wasn't part of the curriculum. So, like, when was Roots trending enough for y'all to know who Kunta Kinte was so that you could tell Who was it, Kai?
Yeah, it was a member of EXO telling another member of EXO, and they called him Kunta Kinte because it was the color of his skin. And
like,
I was like, so you know who Kunta Kinte is?
I'm gagged.
Right?
I'm actually fucking gagged.
You know who that, which means that if you've watched,
or you don't,
or
you just know the name, or you know King Kunta, like the song or something.
But even so, for you to make it a comment about the blackness of someone's skin,
you know
that it's a black person.
For sure.
And the fact is, Kunta Kinte in Roots, if you're not aware, was a slave. And I'm like, so there's an awareness, even if it's not a full peak awareness.
LeVar Burton.
It's LeVar Burton. I love that man. Even
if
it's not reading Rainbow, if it's not like it can be bare minimum awareness, but that within itself is also a sign of laziness because that means that you can know and you choose not to. And I understand that it is not your culture, but if you're going to invest in it for yourself, for your own usage.
If you're gonna be a rapper, even if your raps are dry and you don't write them yourself,
you need to not do that. I found the lack of response and the signs to ignore the problem from all involved with that YG leak to be very disheartening. Not because I'm like, oh, my heart's broken or it hurt me. No, I'm used to that. That's a regular trend in the world of K-pop, unfortunately. It's kind of just going, it's fine, move on. But it just feels extremely disingenuous from them, especially because your whole marketing for your group is based on Western influence. The whole sound of your group that helped to make you super popular in the world is based on Western sounds, especially R&B and hip hop. With that being the case, you have rappers, you sing all these, whatever you do, all this stuff, right? That you're these bad girls, these bad bitches, and I honestly, I ate it up once upon a time. And then not only that, you work with black talent. Like, most of y'all had black writers on your albums and black artists on your albums with you. And I'm like, and I find it so very unreal because in the world of K-pop, which is kind of bordered sometimes, they were very much not. So their reaction is very weird to me.
Which member was it who said oh yeah, I model my my vibes and my style after Rihanna?
That was Jenny.
Because
and it was Jenny.
Am I Rihanna's hip hop. Didn't you say my rap?
Yeah.
Yeah, Rihanna's hip hop to me. Rihanna,
it was a pop artist and R&B at times. Sure, some of the beats would have hip hop influence, I guess, if you want to be technical. But girl,
everything a black artist does is in hip hop or rap
or urban. But it's also, that's what I'm making a point of. The training system within itself is very odd because you guys did study people.
Yeah.
Because that's the reason that you were singing songs.
Enough.
No.
You didn't understand what that meant.
No. You studied the way they did stuff. You didn't study artistry.
Rihanna is hip hop.
Because the way you could tell it also in the video, and I know that's the case with all groups. I'm not just coming after
it's not
one.
just Blackpink.
No, it's everybody. The training system and how it has been set up a lot for these groups, especially before 4th gen, more so, was giving you need to model your performance off of these different isms. And all of them are microaggressive in nature, which is why you guys have the black sense and all those other things, whatever it may be. And it also gives you don't actually respect the thing that you're taking from at all. So that is also partially why the Blackpink conversation has been the way it has been amongst black fandoms. Because they're it makes me feel, and then not only that, though, the quickness and swiftness with which people were shut up to them for voicing their opinion on the fact that they are hoping that they would have enough awareness and accountability as the adult women that they are now 10 years later to speak on it and just say something as simple as, I mean, you should give a full apology, but as simple as you just being aware of the fact that that was wrong to do is clear enough. You couldn't do that? Cool. Got it. Checked. Got it.
Who also couldn't do that? Kiss of Life.
Not correctly, god damn.
Yeah, they tried to issue an apology, so I guess we should explain the situation.
Yeah.
So Kiss of Life did a birthday live stream for one of their members, and the birthday party theme was hip hop. hood theme. I don't even know where to go with that, because as a Black person, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. What's a hood theme part? Like who? Yeah. So we had, and it was so dated too, because it was, again, like hood themed of like late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
So it was like Flavor Flav, Huge Ass Change, which I don't know any rapper who really does that anymore. It was like the snapbacks that were too big. One girl had 2 on the whole time. Bitch, trash.
The cornrows.
Jerseys, like big basketball jerseys, oversized stuff, which again, like oversized is in, but not really what basketball attire. It's not, you're not on brand, mama. And then the fried chicken, they had greens, I think, and cornbread.
Yeah, it was it. And then like showing the example of what they were trying to go for, and it's just like a group of Black dudes like
just living,
and I'm like, okay. And then like the way that they talk, they did the like,
yeah,
the racist as shit way of speaking in like like fricked up AAVE. It was just really like, ooh.
When you don't speak English and are trying to do AAVE, it's just don't do that.
But
please don't do that.
Crazy part about it is that 2 of them are from America.
Oh yeah, when they called Bell Taco Bell, which is
also offending Mexican culture on the same realm as well, because Jesus Christ, with the big earrings and everything.
But they do come for Chicano culture just as much as they come for, which is like
Native American too.
And the lowrider used, that's a whole nother episode too, because y'all can't keep just stick to your shit. Do your shit.
Yeah.
Y'all got some fire shit, but do your shit. Don't be biting other people's shit.
Yeah. Like, I just, like, because it's always disingenuous. I was so confused. And this is after Julie got in trouble for saying the N-word. Like, and having to apologize not that long ago for that. So I'm like, what is the choice here, ladies, to sit here and do this? And it was a long time. And you could read the comments.
Yeah.
Like, you could read a comment during a live, and it was on for a while, and y'all were doing that. And you even like made content after and made comments about stuff, and it took you too long.
The apology was
the company apology first, which
is always so funny, because it's like, I will take no responsibility,
none. Like, we're sorry to have offended like any culture or whatever, and I'm like, which culture?
Any
sorry to have offended. What do you mean? It was offensive. It was rude and inappropriate, and you know better, especially the fact that whether or not you were born and raised in Korea or not, it's 2025, y'all. And you had 2 members who grew up in America. Nah. It's a wrap. And then you did your individual ones, and they were self-written, I guess, but they, again, did not address the actual issue. One had a typo in it, and I was like, that's confusing, because, like, what? Like, what are we doing? But they were all written in English because you knew who you were offending, which is the reason you wrote it in English. But I'm like, it made me go, and that's done, which is the exact reason as to why one of my servers of the week is no longer in one of the episodes in the later date. Sorry about that, girlies. Not really. I don't care. But that was only like 2 instances of bad stuff. Then there was like the whole situation with From 20. When he like had his concept photos for his like song Eye Candy come out, and he was wearing a do-rag in it, and it was obviously a style piece choice, like the main style piece choice for the photo, and it just gave like cultural appropriation. And I will say, unlike everyone else, he did take a good amount of accountability there. He released a YouTube video where he sat down with Black artists and Black people and they explained cultural appropriation to him, and he let them speak freely on their feelings about it, and that was like a nice forum to have and create. Now it begs to see like how you grow past this point, but that was a good example of like you you directly addressing it, directly apologizing for it, and then doing something in swift action to try and like actually grow within self from the mistake that you made, which was nice to see at least.
What artist was it who did and the Bedazzled Durag? And it was like
Kai?
Was it Kai?
It was Kai. That was yeah.
Yeah. And what's crazy is the durag wasn't on. So it was just hanging on his head. It wasn't like tied or anything. So it seemed uncomfortable to dance with because it could have fallen off. So what's the practicality there? And also, it didn't even go with the fit. And it makes me wonder to like the costume designers, what did you think that added? Like, what did it do for you? Because it gave me nothing. So what was it doing for you that it made sense in that outfit? Like, that was like, oh, this will be cool.
But that's like an interesting bigger point there, because it's like you add these elements in them. There's something appealing about them to you, right? Or else you wouldn't have put it on.
Right.
Like you wouldn't have even the vibe, right? Something about it makes you want to wear it for a moment. Very clearly for a moment, because it doesn't stay on, is the point. At least in my experience as a black person, I've definitely dealt with the feeling of watching someone like don a feature that is very clearly attributed with me and my culture.
Yeah.
And the feeling I get from it is you found that thing attractive for you. Not that you found it actually attracted on me, like, or on other people.
Yeah.
Like it feels like you sat there and said, that is cool, but not because of who is donning it. You said, that's cool, I think it's cooler because I'm putting it on. That's the thing that you're doing.
That's how I feel about the hair thing.
Yeah.
You know, because the hair appropriation is such, it's rampant, baby.
Yeah.
And I just feel like I've been a natural hair girly my entire life. Our parents didn't let us get a perm and straighten our hair. Like, that was not an option. So I always had like braids, twists, Bantu knots. You know how hard it is to have Bantu knots in middle school in South Jersey as one of like 20 or so black kids in your grade? And your mom's like, this is cute. Yeah. I wanted to fucking cry getting on the bus, bro. And if I didn't come back home with them Bantu knots in, that was also going to be a conversation.
Yeah. And what's crazy is I had the opposite, where I grew up and I had a relaxer in, which is, if you don't know what that is, it's an opposite of perm.
For straight hair.
Yes. So it straightens
black hair.
Black hair. So I remember having like a weird relationship with that, because once I had straightened hair, the reception towards my beauty was very different. And that's from everyone. People within my own community and people who weren't were giving me the same level of attention towards how beautiful I was based off of this long, luscious, straight hair I had.
Yeah.
Which, quick turn. The argument that is running rampant, especially around those MAGA groups I'm calling out, about the idea that like it's not appropriate for y'all to take on elements of black hairstyles because we take on elements of Eurocentric hairstyles is not valid. And here's why. Quick little history lesson. White women and white hair, Eurocentric hair in general, has never been policed, has never been told to be unkempt or dirty or odd or unprofessional. And the amount of times that I have been told at a job where I worked in retail, where I helped people buy clothing when I had my braids like they are right now, that it was inappropriate or that it's too much.
Yeah. But
someone got to dye their hair pink and it was fine.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I worked at Cracker Barrel as a waitress. And yeah, I had braids in, I had faux locks before I committed. And I got in trouble for those multiple times. And they were like, you can't wear your hair like that. And I just said, okay. And I kept wearing my hair like that, and they never fired me. So it was a problem. It was a problem. Because they were like, your hair should be straight. In the handbook, it says you should have your hair straightened and away. I don't know if they changed that now, but that's what it was.
Yeah.
How's the job going to tell me my hair has to be straight? My hair doesn't grow out of my hair straight.
Yeah. Or like any deep change we had to like have permission for.
Yeah.
And I was like, what do you mean by deep change? They're like, so if I changed my braids and it changed color, like right now it's like this light one, and if it went to like the dark color that's more natural to my hair tone, I would get in trouble because it changed too swiftly. And I'm like, okay. But then again, I had coworkers who loved to do like bleach their hair and do whatever color they wanted, and they found that to be cool and edgy and different. And I said, I find that really racist.
Easier for them to understand.
Exactly so.
They don't understand how you did that.
No. But then the crazy part is they would come back to Jamaica and have it.
And that's the other tea, because Vikings did not do cornrows and box braids. Okay? There are people like, and this is a whole other tangent, so I'm not going to stay here long, but you can look up people of Nordic heritage who have done entire like YouTube sagas about the fact that those are not the styles that their families were doing, or their ancestors. Were they doing braided hairstyles? Absolutely. But it was with a completely different concept and pattern and thickness. Like, it was not even the same. So no, the box braids that you thought were hitting in Jamaica, those were not like your Viking ancestors, babe.
No. They come from African-based styles, and there are like even Southeast Asian like ethnic groups that have their own history.
Everybody has.
Everyone has.
Yeah, but that is not what we're arguing
the
about.
argument is the specific styles that you utilize that are constantly thrown back in the face of the people who originated those looks.
Yeah.
And that part is constantly being disregarded when you don that style.
Right.
Because if you wanted to don a Nordic style, you would wear the Nordic style more often. And y'all don't want that. So, that is why the argument with K-pop, especially because, again, it's a lot of trend-based things. It's all a trend. And it doesn't feel like there's actual care behind what it is that you're taking from.
Our history is too dark to be a trend.
It is. But yet, it's dark, and that's also part of the reason that it's
why you like it.
After
why you like it. Because when you're doing that, what you're doing is basically emulating coping mechanisms, right? Cornrows were created as I've heard multiple things about the creation of cornrows. My mom used to be a hairdresser, but one thing about braiding was that people could hide seeds in their hair, because slaves were not allowed, and sharecroppers too. You had to pay for seeds, and you had to pay for the space to have anything that you would grow and harvest. So slaves didn't have any money. They couldn't pay for anything, and they were only given rations from their owner, or their slave owner, their master. So they would be able to put seeds or rice or bits of food or something that they could hide in their hair and take back to their home to be able to feed their family. And similarly with sharecroppers, they could put seeds in there and then go into the woods somewhere and have a little patch of something where they could plant some corn or something that they could harvest and eat. It's a survival mechanism. The same thing with cornrows were also used as maps. People would braid a travel pattern, basically, or kind of braid the topography of a landscape into someone's head to kind of be like, okay, here's where you go, here's how you get there, especially for escaping to freedom. So when I see a K-pop artist with cornrows in, just talking about, I just connect to the hip-hop style. Shut the fuck up. Like, what are you sound so fucking dumb.
Yeah, just because you don't do the due diligence to understand any of the things that you supposedly love so much. Maybe it's just me. I'm a firm believer on the idea that if you truly love something, and I'm not going to discredit the validity of your love, right?
Sure.
If you love something, wouldn't you want to know about it? Like, and actually, like, study it? There have been a lot of instances of microaggressions and weird cultural appropriation within K-pop in general. It is not just the instances that happened in the last month alone. Those were just like, it was given like, the contacts were open. People were on a call and saying, let's just fuck around with the black people. And honestly,
yeah. Because it was like YG Leaks, Kiss of Life, Rain did his fucking bullshit with the twist.
Yeah.
And then BM, Big Matthew,
and
saying the N-word. And it was just like, everybody was just like, you know what, black people, we coming for you.
We're coming for you. And what's crazy is, most of y'all, like, have Western, more than just influence, like, are from the West.
Yeah. Which is interesting, because it's like, why is it those are, and I know why, but those are the artists who are fucking up more than, like, the Korean artists from Korea.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's also part of the reason why the argument completely doesn't suffice, because the idea of it being like, oh, it's a Korean issue is not true.
Nope.
It is a universal
It's a worldly issue. It's everybody.
Everyone. It's an issue no matter where it is. I have the same feeling I have when I see a German rapper having box braids as I would watching, like, Suga have the braids. It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I could love both artists truly and still be like, that was weird. Hate it. But that's just reality. Sit in reality, take stock of it, figure out your own stuff within it, and move forward.
I feel like truth tea is that we're not even angry. We're just frustrated because we stand. Like, we go to concerts. We financially support you. Like, we started a whole fucking podcast about this. Like, obviously, we're heavily invested in this art form. And so, you know, when you do have artists who you've talked well about who embarrass you, or artists who make you feel unseen, that is a frustrating thing to experience. So, for anyone who isn't black and has seen comments of black fans being disappointed or frustrated, hear me out. Like, hear them out. And that's what we're gonna do. So, we have a couple vocab words that we definitely want to address, because a lot of these words are thrown around, but I think people don't actually know in depth, like, the full definition of what that means.
Obviously, the current events as they are, we're going to kind of go through them, but these words are definitely going to be very important in understanding what it is we're talking about. So one of them, just to like rip off a band-aid, there's gonna be a lot of talk about colorism. That idea within itself, obviously it's a thing within multiple different cultures, multiple different places. It's a world issue. A lot of different cultures have a interesting relationship with the darkness and lightness of skin tone. It's definitely reflected on like standards of beauty and standards of desirability and whether or not you are seen as intelligent, or and it has a back like history of having to do with like caste systems and like outside doing manual labor and who were the more educated inside people, like in multiple different cultures. It's long and convoluted. It's a whole separate issue. I need everyone to like be aware of that and understand what that is.
And just for clarity, we're not this color just because we worked outside.
No.
We're not this color because we ate a lot of chocolate. We was born like this, baby.
Yeah. Melanin.
Okay, Google it. So that melanin is something that we cannot control. That's something that you're born with, you know? So from there, any type of colorism or bullying someone or making them feel bad because of the color that they are, that is mean. Yeah. It's just mean. It's just mean.
Don't come at people just because of how they look, but it also has a racial connotation because it obviously has to do with how you see them based off of the color of their skin, even within your own communities. It's something that's within the Black community. That's a big thing. And in Korea, it's unfortunate.
And it's hard because even like as a Black person, I try to remove certain words from my vocabulary, but I am very used to them, right? like light skin.
Yeah.
You just be, everybody's a light skin, you know? Like, you be like, oh, well, not everybody, like, but you know what I mean? Like,
I'm a dark skin.
You're a rebel. But you know, like you'll say, like, oh, that's the light skin nigga. Like, oh, he got light skin vibes. Because we say that, like, I say that about Son all the time. Because he does have light skin vibes.
He does.
But that's not a valid thing to say. So everyone has microaggressions, but you gotta be conscious of them and stop doing that shit.
Yeah. And a microaggression, it's, be prepared. A microaggression is subtle and like unintentional in nature, but it is a problem.
You don't mean to be a dick.
No.
You're just a dick.
But it's discrimination against those marginalized groups, but you just don't realize that it's something problematic. An example of a microaggression is saying, you seem so well spoken to someone who's black who's just speaking normally. Because you're expecting them to speak differently. Yeah, like it's and the way in which it's saying and the intention behind it are what makes it a microaggression. Yeah. It's literally two things. It's your intention and how you do it.
Yeah, because that's saying that your proximity to proper English means that you're better educated and a better quality person, which is crazy when people who look like us have been barred from 1, reading and 2, attending schools. So
and like needing to be surprised by it, because like, why are you surprised that I can read and speak? Like, but that's microaggressions in itself also include like how it is that you view these things and tiny things within cultural aspects of people within those marginalized groups and how you interact with them. And again, unintentional in nature, so a lot of it is going to be things that you will be, quote unquote, unaware of being inappropriate or insensitive, but they are.
Yeah. And those are the kind of things that I remember as a kid were the most damaging. Yeah. Because when I would have a teacher or like a friend's parent or someone who would say something, I was just slightly like, I remember being like, why do they think what makes you, I'm the same age as your kid. Like, why do you think? We're also gonna unpack cultural appropriation.
Here we go, y'all. It's time. I'm so sorry to everybody who thought they were going to get a sweet little episode where we were going to talk about some stuff. Cultural appropriation is nuanced in nature. I will not lie. There are a lot of this. There's a lot of stuff that kind of like toes the line. But overall, the adoption of elements of a certain marginalized group without proper reflection, respect, and education, that's when something becomes appropriative versus appreciative. Being appreciative is, oh, you're a fan of rap music and you really enjoy that genre, and so you studied and you understand and you respect it and you respect the backing behind it and the stories that it envelops and the actual culture behind why it is that music form exists. That's me, you being appreciative. I got it. It's awesome. You don't say the N-word. It's great. Then there's the other side where you will be seeing it as, oh, I think it's cool, which is fine. You're allowed to find it cool. It is.
It is. We are.
We're awesome. I get it. There is a point, though, when you just don the caricature vibe of something because you find it to be interesting or different.
It's the same way people feel about Korea boos.
Yes.
Where it's like, you look goofy as shit. Like you don't even know. Yeah.
Like Kiss of Life, what are you doing?
Bitch.
But that was deeper than even cultural. It's if you have respect, and again, intent and what you do in action are very, very important. We learn about it in work. If you ever have done like cultural, like sensitivity training or just like workplace training ever, you really probably should. If you don't, Jesus Christ. But in any one of those videos, the one thing they'll talk about is like your intention behind something as well as the action itself and how it is taken. Those two things are real important, y'all. Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. With the appropriation, we're also going to cover cultural insensitivity because those two really go hand in hand. Also AAVE, which we touched on a little bit already, which is when people overly use the slang like yo, nigga. And before we even get into it, when we're talking about the N-word, we are not talking about the Korean use of nigga as in you or I. We know the difference. We know what a hard ER is. We know NIGGA. And we also know that groups that are trying to be more respectable of their Black fans, especially when they're touring in America, will try to change or alter their lyrics or not hit certain vowels or consonants as hard in order to make sure that they don't come off as rude or appropriative. And we're very grateful for that.
Shout out Onu, who's currently on tour, who's doing that and making a point before his shows.
Yeah, and not Shinhwa. Next. The one issue with this topic in general is the excuses, right? And I think, especially for fans here, especially for Asian and white American fans, because they're not really feeling the same stress and pressure that Black American fans are feeling, and because Black American fans are not the majority of the K-pop fandom in the West, it creates for a really weird space when we have this kind of discourse online, and I do get very frustrated with the excuses.
Yeah. Because they get repetitive in nature and do a disservice to those people that you're trying to defend.
Yeah.
I will never, ever enjoy the idea of discrediting the intelligence of an idol just because you think they are unaware. And I being unaware is true. You can be unaware of certain things. I'm not disregarding that as being something that could be possible. But in the grand year of 2025, or in the grand year of even 2015, or in the grand year of 2000, people knew what nigga meant. Like, people were saying it when they shouldn't have, but they knew what it meant. You knew it enough that during a lot of these training performance evaluations, they would find it upon themselves to censor it a lot of the time. It would not be constantly, like, said. So that kind of implies to me that there is some sort of understanding of it.
Yeah.
And also, even if you don't, right? You want to make the excuse of like, oh, a lot of people from around the world didn't learn actual meanings behind a lot of words because they didn't have, like, the information. Okay, fine. You know it now. If you know it now,
if you have the internet,
and you said it then,
okay,
and it comes back because the internet, and like we live in a world where things do get dug up pretty easily.
Yeah.
And it turns its ugly head. What you have to do then is take the accountability for the fact that, yep, I said it.
Be an adult.
I probably shouldn't have. Really shouldn't have.
And it's the same thing when they're like, oh, our label made us. Our label made us. Okay, great. And they probably did. And maybe you were underage. But now as an adult, you have the freedom to say, I shouldn't have done that. They okayed it and said it was cool. But now I realize that that was offensive. And I'm sorry. And an actual genuinely, I'm sorry. Instead of like, sorry you were upset.
Yeah. Or ignoring it completely, which is
that's a fan favorite.
It's weird to do, especially when the big portion of what the last, like, 10 years especially, more than that, but of the world of K-pop has been this, like, boom in trying to break into a global, like, market. If you are breaking into a global market that has many different types of people, is the entire point. It's diverse. It's all over the world. You're going to have to be sensitive to all of that. So when something turns its ugly head about something you said, whether it be about, like, a certain community or a certain religion, whatever it may be, you gotta take accountability for that shit. Sorry. Like, not sorry.
You know what? Off topic, but the gag is the reason that a lot of these K-pop and even a lot of these Asian artists in general are having such a tough time breaking into the American music market is heavily related to the fact that they don't group y'all with white artists. They group y'all with us. They group y'all with the niggas you're making fun of, to be honest. So not understanding that you're also part of that minority group here, maybe not in your country, but here, that's how they see you. So like I need the reality of being a little more culturally aware, a little more like smarts of, okay, if I'm gonna do this, let me talk to other artists who are disenfranchised in this music market and then figure out how to work together and create community. Because having your little two-strand twist and doing your little racism reign, it's not giving.
Also, I'm sorry. I must go to that really quickly. You thought you were Usher, baby? Like, you thought you were Usher?
The rubber bitch.
Yo,
Bitch.
the racism.
Racism. Yeah.
Yo.
Yeah.
I'm
gonna be bad, boy.
I'm gonna be, okay.
Oh, you gonna be bad, alright.
Okay.
I'm gonna be racist.
Who's
I'm
that?
gonna be racist.
I feel like, okay, so I'm going to make a blanket statement. It is not just a Korean issue.
Period.
Period. Exclamation point. We are based in America. We are Black women. We live here. We've grown up here.
Yeah.
We are literally invested in the culture here because American culture is Black culture. We're hot. Because it's also 80 degrees outside. Crazy. But with that being said, we live in a reality where within our own borders, we have to deal with the same exact thing.
It's not just y'all.
No.
Is that right?
It's not. It's anything that has been touched. It has a touch of the appropriation. It's just not great. And it's very stressful because it means that you always have to walk a fine line with anything.
Yeah.
Because again, in America, the things that we're talking about being an issue with these idols, and not just the idols, with celebrities in general in Korea too, are things that are a problem with our artists as well. Like,
absolutely.
We have whole people made famous off the backs of Black ideas, Black culture, Black music. Bruno Mars, especially. Like, Justin Timberlake. You have all these people who ingest culture and music and art from people who look like us, and then will take inspiration. I will allow that phrasing. You take inspiration because why not? It's awesome.
You can. Yeah.
You can. I have no problem with it. The issue is that there's always some sort of like excuse as to why it's okay, and it's not just within Blackness. It's. I mean, we lived through Gwen Stefani.
This
we lived through so many things, y'all.
Bananas.
It was crazy. We lived through a lot of things, y'all, and we still do. And it's just
I'm sorry, I'm distracted.
Craziness, right?
Yeah,
but true.
Okay.
We're gonna cut this.
Anyway,
Still, Jesus. Because of that, like, it is still very, very true that you will have people who do the same things as these idols do in America.
Yeah.
A culture where you do have and see people who look like us every day.
And don't care.
Morgan Wallen, hate you. I don't care. I don't care. Am I gonna make this man? I don't care.
He's not gonna
don't
watch.
care.
He's
You
not
know
gonna watch. Morgan Wallen's not gonna stream.
But it's a great example of a celebrity that has people apologize for their choices that they have made, that they have continuously made, by the way, not just one time, and continue to make. And then it's fine, you're still like the number one country artist in America. And I'm like, that's crazy. Because, okay.
It's the filming music videos at slave plantations.
Yeah.
Getting married at slave plantations and taking photo shoots. Like, it's, oh, look at this beautiful weeping willow. Like, they didn't used to hang Black people specifically from them. Like, it's not called a weep. Listen,
It's interesting. Like, I don't understand why people don't see that as a problem. I know this is kind of a side quest moment, but
very side quest.
It is. But I don't understand why people don't see that as a problem, because if someone were to say, "Oh, I want to get married on a plantation," I'd be like, "Oh, like you want to get married at a place that's like filled with death, despair, and the sadness and
families being sold
oppression
away."
of people." then why don't you go to Germany and do it?
Yes!
That's confusing as hell.
Literally
it's
that!
inappropriate.
Because if we want to talk about it statistically, more black people died over the entire course of slavery in the United States. It's not a competition, but I'm just saying the fact that Germany can atone and say, hey, we fucked up, and the U.S. is still like, let's give up some monuments of some Confederate people. Fuck that. Bullshit. Continue.
No. It's craziness. The obvious, like, history backing of so much pain turned to our version of art and joy, right? Is completely disregarded for you to acquire joy. If anything, one little tidbit, if you haven't seen Sinners, go see it. Because one thing about that movie is it definitely speaks on that. I am never going to be angry with the idea of someone finding connection and joy through our art, ever. It makes complete sense. The thing that I will definitely have a problem with is exactly how you do it, because it feels... When you say the phrase culture vulture, it's because it takes as if you're stealing.
And what a vulture does is pick off of a dead carcass. A vulture does not kill an animal. I'm an animal nerd. I train dogs. A vulture does not kill an animal. A vulture finds a dead body and takes the last viable pieces of it that it can. And that is what culture vultures do. They find a culture that has tried to do the best it can from literally nothing and says, well, let me take the few good pieces of this that are left.
Like, respect it. That's all. There would be so much less issue when things like this happen if it was more of the majority of clear respect towards other cultures within it. And I say this as someone who does love, like, I'm not sitting here as someone who's just picking apart something because I'm like, yeah, it sucks. And I understand people who do that. I completely do. I can't be mad at someone who says that they stopped listening to stuff because of this, or that they stopped watching it and that, like, they don't understand how you do. I completely understand it. Or you need to take steps back.
For sure. Completely
do. I also, for my own self, have a hard time with that because I'm like, the crazy part is I feel that in everything. So
yeah, I think that's the issue, because when we were talking about this topic, we were even talking about, I remember being a kid growing up on the East Coast. A lot of my family's from Philly, and one of my cousins introduced me to Chris Brown when I was little. And I was like, yeah, Chris Breezy. And then he bit Rihanna in the face. He's beat multiple women. And I'm just not the type of bitch who's still going to stand. But there are within the community a lot of black women who are still fans of Chris Brown, despite the fact that he has beat multiple women and has, like, restraining orders. Like, why are you giving this man money? Why are you paying extra to do photo shoots where you're hugging on him and he bit a piece of a woman's face? Like, so no matter what culture you're in, and I'm not going to just put it on men, they're female artists too, but you will be disappointed. But we're talking about K-pop today. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for staying on this journey with us. And thank you for maybe being aware of your own microaggressions and trying to fix them. So stay tuned. This is a two-parter, and we'll see you in the next episode.